Hello, friends. So, I have been noticing that as much advice as there is out there for your traditional Myers-Briggs stack INFJ, who has introverted intuition first, extroverted feeling second, there doesn't seem to be as much for the INFJs who prefer their TI, for the double introverts, for the jumpers. And, ISTP advice would help them, aside from the fact that they don't have the actual function stack of an ISTP. So, it's pretty tricky because if these people go anywhere for advice right now, they might be getting something that's targeted at a different functioning of a person than them. Which is really tricky because I know that if you get the wrong advice about your type, or you believe that you're a type that you aren't, in the long run, it's okay. You are what you are wired the way you are. It's not going to change, but it can be really tricky to believe that you're something when you aren't, because it can make the person believe that they're unhealthy when there really isn't anything wrong with them. So, let's see. I've been chatting with an INFJ who prefers his TI. He is just about the most introverted type of INFJ, I think. He is sleep, consume, blast, play, I believe. And, he is different than an INFJ stereotype. He's different from an ISTP. He's different from an INTP or any other traditional stack type. And so his problems are very uniquely for someone who is double introverted. He has the problems of an NI dominant. He has the problem of getting extremely sucked into his own worldview and seeing the world through his NI lens constantly, but also has the issue of being so deeply aligned and meshed with his own introverted thinking that it can be hard for him to relate to other people. And so I'm trying to think of ways to help him, because he's been seeking advice or even just an explanation for why he is the way he is, and I honestly understand that through cognitive functions personality, how he's wired, but I can't refer him to really any resources of people who are giving advice or saying, hey, I've been there, here's what this is like. I'm realizing that the jumper types are gonna have a hard time when they're being projected upon. I'm sorry, there's a noise in the background. I'm close to a main road. They're sort of being projected upon by people who don't believe in the objective personality system theory of jumpers. Some people might think that he is unhealthily skipping his extroverted feeling, when that's not the case. They might think that he is neglecting the world and he's lonely, which on some level he is. On some level, anyone is. And might disregard legitimate aspects of what is healthy and typical for this guy and what he's gifted at. So that's just really been on my mind. And this INFJ was asking me, questions like, why is it that I come off as so arrogant and so close-minded? Like, nobody wants to talk to me I don't understand. Because, see, he has extroverted feeling, and it's feminine. His extroverted feeling is feminine. And he wants to engage with the world on some level. He has this part of him that seeks to help others and feel connected to others and all of that, just like anyone with extroverted feeling in their stack anywhere. But he has the problem of not really knowing why that isn't working out for him. And from what I see, it looks like... Now here is where the idea of what is very peculiar in particular for the NITI savior stack, or savior animal, because I don't think there's a lot of advice really targeted at these people, is I think that his sleep energy is what gives that off. Because when someone has sleep that is TI sleep especially, there's, to me, I see this look of almost deadness. It looks like they are asleep. It looks like they aren't on. It looks like they're in their head mulling things over. It looks like they've barricaded their introverted parts so that the outside world is not something that they're seeking to interact with. And to most people who don't have sleep first, who don't have NITI sleep first, or, I mean, anyone who's comparing the mass spectrum of people and what your average person looks like, it looks like they are too attached to themselves to interact with other people. Like, they're arrogant and think they're smarter than everyone else and think that they know more about the world than anyone else. And the thing is, like, INFJ TI preferers out there, I see your struggle. I see that that's not the case. I know that there's a part of you that really seeks to mesh with the world of others and their feelings, and you care about people, you do. And that is absolutely true. But I think it's important for you to realize that you do come off a certain way, and I think that can sometimes be hard for you to notice how you're coming off sometimes because you have low extroverted sensing, which is sometimes a low gauging of physical presence, but you still have decent enough extroverted feeling to be sensitive to how you come off to other people, and that's a really tricky combination to have. I really feel for you guys. But I think a lot of times what people will do is they will brush that off and say, I'm going to be aligned with myself. Like, I'm sorry, screw you. I mean, I'm sad, I'm lonely that I don't get to be with people, but like, hey, screw you. I'm me, I'm here. I'm not changing who I am for the world. And I think that can sometimes hurt you. As beautiful as I think it is to have so much integrity about your identity and your understanding of the world, so many people need that, and so many people will be benefited from hearing you. But it's tricky if you don't flex to fit more extroverted energy. And this particular INFJ that I was interacting with, he was saying, well, yeah, I want to engage with people, but the thing is, they talk about stuff that is, like, honestly stupid, that I don't see the value in, and I feel like if I were to be talking with them, I would be wasting my time. And he's torn between talking to them is a waste of my time, it doesn't align with my values, but, on the other hand, he's a human being. He needs community, he needs connection, and absolutely, and I think, he deserves connection. Everyone deserves to have friends and to be talked to and all of that, and I'm sorry for the people who have high sleep and or anyone who, for any reason, feels that disconnection, because that's not fun, that's not okay for the world to allow you to be disconnected, ultimately. But at the same time, I think when you have a really strong introverted thinking, you can almost think, well, they are stupid. They don't know how to do it right. They're just not on the right wavelength because they aren't on my wavelength. So I don't see the value, and I'm not going to flex. And as much as a right as you have a right to think that. But I don't think that's going to serve you. And I don't think that that's taking full responsibility for your impact. And I mean, I think that having that strong NINTI is amazing, and you can impact the world and change the world and do so much good. But the thing is, no matter how great your savior functions can serve you, if you aren't bending to also look at the extroverted spectrum of things, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're not fully optimizing, I guess, whatever you want to call that, on your potential. Because until you engage with the outside world, you don't even know the power behind everything that you are. If you think that your talents are best used, in the safety of your own home, in your room, thinking, being perfectly accurate to what you think and not matching up with other people, not bending to be explained to other people with extroverted feeling, then you're never going to get to see the full potential that lies within your amazing function stack and your amazing wiring. So, the advice, I guess, that I gave to this INFJ guy was two things. The first thing was, it's not your fault that you operate this way. It's not your fault that you feel like you don't have a presence, that you feel like you are so aligned with yourself in this way. Like, that's part of your wiring. That is part of how you were made and created. You are not doing something wrong. You're not being rude necessarily. You're not, that's okay. It's part of how you operate. And if you feel like a certain group is not appreciating you, sometimes it's because you are turning them off, but sometimes it's just not a group that's going to appreciate what you have to offer. And it might be better to find a group that appreciates what you have to offer so that you don't have to force your gifts onto the wrong group, because that can definitely happen with extroverted feeling. We feel the need to serve whatever group we're in, and sometimes don't realize that we can just look for a different group of people that we can benefit. That's something I've even learned as an ENFJ. But the other advice that I sort of shared was, at the same time, you are responsible to do the other half. You are responsible for the work of extroverted feeling and extroverted sensing. If you don't feel like you have a presence, if you don't feel like you have an influence over people, then that is something that you need to practice at, instead of looking at yourself and excusing your behavior by saying, well, I guess they don't listen to me, they're stupid. And I know sometimes they are stupid. I'm sure they are, because your introverted thinking is very advanced, and most people don't think on your level. But that doesn't mean you don't have the responsibility to connect with them and help them. And just because you see your own giftedness and that other people might not be on your level does not mean that you are allowed to ignore them or isolate yourself. Because you are responsible to connect with them, and you have so much to share. And I know that you INFJ guys and girls who prefer your TI, you have this desire to connect with people that you feel is sometimes unmet, and I have so much sympathy for that. I care for you guys, I see you guys, but I also think that if you give it enough practice, if you see it as worthwhile, if you stop going, well, that's a waste of my time, they aren't going to listen to me, they're stupid, you're only going to be creating a situation where you feel more and more lonely. But if you look at those situations and see it as an investment. Like, have your NI and TI, see it as an investment in your future relationships and your future impact on people, and take the hit of engaging in a few frivolous conversations, engaging in stuff that you think is silly, that you think is a waste of your time, to just have fun with people and just connect with people where they're at and listen to them and share what you know in a gentle way. That will give you practice in dealing with people and sort of building rapport with them, so that, one, you can actually fully share the potential that is within you of your introverted intuition and introverted thinking, and so that you can also start feeling connected and close to people, and that loneliness inside of you will diminish. And as that happens, you'll probably notice yourself get into a flow state of feeling more confident to share, more confident that you're good for people, which will give you more confidence in your own self at the end of the day, and you'll have so much more balance and less anxiety, I believe. I mean, I could be wrong, I am not your type, but this is what I'm seeing. And for the INFJ who I shared this with, he felt very seen, I guess. He felt very understood, and I think that this will be helpful to him. But again, I mean, don't just take my advice. Take with it what you will. Really think about it. You can sift this through your NI and TI. I mean, I know you will. But I just hope you guys know that you're not alone, and we see your need to connect, and people want to connect with you, but you just gotta bend with them. You just have to sometimes take the hit of engaging in stuff that you don't see as valuable yet, to ultimately build a bond with them and ultimately get to the place where you can share your insights. And yeah, so anyway, I really hope this is helpful to you guys. I hope that you'll be able to feel a sense of connection from it. And I know you guys got this. I just feel so much compassion for you INFJs, and I hope that you can feel like you have a good place in this world and with people. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hope this is helping you, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful